Building in the starter's hands and about to start. Keep an eye on John Bow and Davison, and they're away, and John Bow missing the start a little bit, but now gets things under control, and it's neck and neck between Bow and Davison comes over the top and into the lead as they go into Repco for the first time. Davison, Bow.
Rob Power in third place. The rest of the field stringing out as Davison into the lead.
John Smith up in fourth place in the roll. Very big field of Formula 2 cars as they head up the back straight for their first time.
And getting bigger and bigger as each race goes by. A very, very popular and competitive class of racing. And here we have John Davison coming under pressure from the Tasmanian. John Bow got the inside running over Rothmans, but cannot quite do it. John Davison seemingly not so worried as Richard Davison seemingly not so worried by the car now as he was earlier this morning when I spoke to him. Holding off John Bow. We're going to have to be careful with our Davisons. There are three of them. Richard Davison through Dunlop Bridge in the Hardman. John Bow just deciding on his tactics for the remaining distance of this 13-lap event. And across the line for the first time, it's Davison from Bow. Only just, though. Only just. And Bow goes into the lead on the outside. Can he hold it? Under brakes into Repco corner, yes. Cuts across onto the line. Apexes the corner. Out past the pits, and Davison down to second place.
It was John Bow who took out an earlier Formula 2 race on today's program in the wet.
John Smith there in third now. Right up there with the Rout. And here is the man that is going to be John Bow's biggest worry, I'd say.
They recorded a standing lap time of 1 minute 16.41.
In fact, the lap record around here for these cars is 1 minute 7.4.
It's held by John Bow, our leader at this stage, in car number 33, the ground effect Formula 2 Elfin. You can see him working feverishly behind the steering wheel of the Elfin.
Oh, and a lot of lock-to-lock stuff there by John Smith. He had a bit of a front-end wash as he came out of Goodyear corner. Didn't lose too much time, though, because Richard Davison, he's still close to that Hardman, which went very wide on the parapet there of the bridge. I think these drivers are working pretty hard.
John Smith, the current leader of the Australian Formula 2 Championship, with 11 points, pulling out now behind Davison and looking for second place. That particular car giving away quite a few pounds to these other two lighter weight Formula 2 cars. The car that John Smith is actually driving is a car that doubles for both Formula 2 and Formula Pacific Racing. And for this occasion, they have a 1600cc Ford motor in it, single camshaft pushrod motor.
Incredible rear end geometry on that, the suspension of that Rout. It does all sorts of funny angles, but seems to work very well. Richard Davison, it would seem, did well to worry about his car. It is obviously not as quick as he would like.
In the first of their flying laps, they recorded 1 minute 10 even, which is some 3 seconds off the lap record held by John Bow. And John Smith getting very sideways that time through the S's.
This is for real, there's no doubt about that. John Smith is already leading the championship, but does need to win here, because although John Bow is not his big problem, Richard Davison certainly is on 9 points.
And John Smith's car again very, very twitchy coming under the Dunlop Bridge. John Smith taking advantage of the slipstream and going around the outside of John Bow as they go into Repco, and Bow tucks back in second place and says, "That's okay by me."
Well, I don't think that's exactly what he might have said, but my gosh, the Smith car went past so quickly. And here we have a lot of weaving, looking for a line. A lot of wasted time by John Bow. He's right under the gearbox of the John Smith Rout. And Richard Davison just watching from the background. There's only inches between these two cars as they go up the back straight. And there they are, side by side. This is a difficult situation going over Rothmans. But John Bow trying to hold out, but John Smith won't have any of it. He's on the inside. They're wheel to wheel as they go down through the S's. A very, very dangerous move.
Oh,
and
John Smith's
has
off.
lost it. That had to happen. It was a very tricky situation they're in. He's okay. He's just wiped off the suspension.
Let's see if we can have a look at that now on replay as John Smith steps out of the car, and it's a very, very damaged Rolt at the moment. Just overcooked it, and the two are almost like young speedway drivers coming over the top of Rolt.
Here we have the replay, and obviously this was a rather silly move, but in the heat of the moment you don't think of things like that. Smith on a very tight line, far too tight. He's had to correct there. He's now very, very unstable, and he's going into the right-hander, but he's just got too much rear-end sway on. The car lets go, spins round and into the fence fairly heavily. That's quite a fast section of track. Ooh. You can see the fence kick up there as the rear suspension is destroyed on the car, and we just hope there's not too much more damage, but luckily the driver is unhurt.
Bow, Davison and Norden, with McCrow further back in 4th place.
McCrow, of course, is on 7 points, so he's not entirely out of it. Norden very close as they go through Tirana Corner, tucking under the gearbox of Davison. Davison, obviously a troubled lad in that car. It's just not quite as good as it has been previously. It often happens when they're continually rebuilding, and in fact Norden's gone by. So it would seem that if this position is maintained, Norden will take the title. So that's how close it all is. Through Goodyear Corner. Norden in 2nd place in the race, with Davison right on his tail. John Smith well out ahead in the lead.
Norden and Davison, and Norden's car and Albion, powered by a VW Golf motor, the same motor that's in John Bow's car. And this particular car of Norden's reputed to be a copy of the March 793 Formula 3 car.
You have to remember, of course, in all this talk of championships, there are 2 races, and this is the second of the 2. So things could be different when we tot up the actual individual heat points, but the way things are looking right now, it could be a straight run.
Yeah, actually Norden had a DNF in the first heat earlier on today, which Stanson did not finish. So that means that the point situation is well and truly wide open, and we'll try and get those results to you at the completion of the event. There's our leader, car number 33, driven by John Bow, Tasmanian, the car built in Adelaide by Gary Cooper. Russell Norden, car number 5.
Off to Europe tomorrow is John Bow. Look-see again. He seems to pop over quite regularly in recent months, and we wonder what he's got going for him over there. Could be a very interesting year for him next year, by the way.
He's a very, very talented driver, and a mere 1.5 seconds separating first from second at this stage. And Norden very sideways as the car goes into the fence.
That was the car he just overtook. David Crabtree straight on at the intersection, into the straw bales. No damage to him. And we would suspect not too much damage to the car, or at least we hope so. John Bow down through the S's, looking pretty good. Obviously has a fair margin in hand over the Russell Norden car. Oh, and a little smoke coming from Norden's car now. Whether that's just a little bit of oil surge or something, we don't know. But there it is, it's a haze behind the car.
He's throwing everything into it. He doesn't really have to, though, because if he can stay in this particular position, he's going to at least record some good points in this second heat. He must finish the race. It's no good pulling out with a broken engine. And a cloud of smoke from the VW Golf of Russell Norden's.
It's obviously oil is spraying out on that side of the car in the corners and going off the exhaust pipe.
I'd say that the gauges have gone haywire as he heads up towards the top of the straight once again.
Well, that's good news for Richard Davison, that's for sure.
He's wearing the latest in helmet wear with the Simpson helmet from the United States, looking much like Darth Vader.
Keeping going, though. Obviously, just going to have a little bit of look and see how it works. Might be able to make it to the finish. That smoke does look quite heavy. It's not at disaster proportions yet, but it doesn't look as if it'll be long before it is.
Last year, this particular driver, Russell Norden, was the winner of the TAA Formula 4 Driver to Europe series, and he won 6 of the 8 rounds. A very forceful young driver.
Just 2 laps remaining. So if he can hold on for 2 laps, at least he gets a finish. And there you can see in the background, Richard Davison. Davison has obviously slowed quite a lot and could well come under pressure from Peter Macro before the race is over. That's a fingers crossed job in the cockpit there at the moment. Hand up again. And he's gone round on his own oil. Yes, he's blowing oil everywhere. He's lost it on his own oil. He knew he'd lost it. He could feel the rear end twitching. Had his arm in the air as it went round. Davison into second place, and now looking very, very good indeed for the championship. He stalled the engine, so...
you can see the big scuff marks on the right-hand rear tyre as he plants it to the floor once again.
Well, we've had a bit of a problem at Goodyear, which we can have a look at in just a second. There we have a spin there by Rob Power. Oh, what a shame there. Kadicha hit it going straight into John Smith's Ralt. This was off air, but we recorded it and we're able to show it. What a shame. More damage to the Ralt and a little bit of damage to the Kadichka too. John Bow off on his last lap. While all the mayhem is going on around him, he's calmly going on his way. Probably by now starting to think about getting to the airport in the morning. Little else to think of. He's got no real opposition.
Having a good look in the mirrors, both right and left, on his way up the back straight.
Seeing whether any good bits can be taken off the Rex, I suppose.
I think he's got all the good bits on this car.
Yes, indeed he has. Very, very fast little motor car. And a very sophisticated design from Gary Cooper, who is now producing motor cars which are equal with the best in the world. Indeed, he's always done that. Richard Davison, second place, and surely to be the 1980 Formula 2 champion. Under the Dunlop Bridge for the last time, John Bow coast from here easily. A very fine win in a highly competitive formula. Both are, oh, he's absolutely in raptures. Both arms in the air as he crossed the line, and there goes Richard Davison, and I wonder what he's thinking of right now. Famous name in motor racing in Australia, and yet another beautifully successful year to add to a fine record. John Bow stops by his pit. The mechanics